Warren Buffett says, I don't want to know things. This is the focus group.
They're all business, except when they're not. It's the focus group with Tim Bennett and John Nash.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the focus group. Tim Bennett here, as always, with my good friend and co-host, Mr. John T. Nash. We appreciate the time you spend with us here. Be sure to follow along with us at focusgroupradio.com. All week long, you'll find all of our media housed there, including our podcast, which is TFG Unbuttoned, which is released every Tuesday. And you can find our media for easy download as well, not only on YouTube, but also on Facebook and just about any other place where you would listen to podcasts. You can even say, hey, Alexa, turn on the focus group.
With Tim Bennett and John
Xfinity.
Nash.
Well, you got to do that one because the bulwark ripped off our name and is yet to respond to any of my letters, by the way. It's very stern letters I've sent them about using our name. They've not responded.
So right before we started recording, I said to Tim that I'd come across the wire that Kash Patel is going to be suing Atlantic Magazine for an expose they're doing on him, which has apparently been very heavily sourced. They have their own attorneys. The writer claims that she checked all the boxes, did the right thing, but he wants $250 million. I think it would be a mistake. I know he's doing this on purpose, but during a lawsuit, don't you have discovery? Wouldn't they start interviewing people and asking questions? And what if it turns out that the article's right?
Well, that's what I never understand about these people when they decide they're going to fight these things or they're going to say things, because it's going to open you up. I mean, that's the issue with Trump, right? Is that he starts complaining about all these things. So, sure, come forward, come under oath. It's like, what's her name? Piero, who wants to...
Jeanine Piero, yeah.
Right. She wants to erase all the Proud Boy and all of the...
Oh, yeah.
All of the convictions. And they said, put her under oath. Put her under oath and have her get in front of a judge and explain it. Well, then it all falls apart. I mean, that's what happened with Rudy Giuliani, right? Who, by the way, has disappeared. Where's Rudy?
Either he's hanging out at Four Seasons. Was it Four Seasons lawn care or like landscaping?
Yeah, Four Seasons.
Either he's doing part-time work there, and then Tim told me. Yeah. By the way, to finish with Rudy, America's mayor. What a sad decline. He ends up in a movie like was he in that movie with Borat?
Where he thought the newscaster was going to blow him in the bedroom. How that didn't get more play is beyond me. I mean, he's got his hand down his pants. He's undoing his pants. Wouldn't you have thought that would have stuck? That would have been covered by
somehow
news?
With these people, these things, either, I don't know. Yeah, I think it should have stuck, but maybe it's fake news. And then Tim also mentioned to me, as I talked about Kash Patel, who, sidebar, there's rumor in the White House chatter is that he's on the chopping block soon. I don't know who they'll replace him with, but and then Tim told me that Melania is taking Kristi Noem's DHS plane for herself.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a supporter of all this, what happened to cost cutting and Doge and government waste? I mean, Melania doesn't need a plane.
It's got a plane. It's got a bedroom. Well, that was the big joke about it. This was one of these very expensive Boeing business jets that is supposed to be commissioned through the Coast Guard. And Kristi Noem, because of when she was doing Homeland Security and ICE and everything, that Coast Guard reported in through her. So, they actually kicked the Coast Guard person out of the home and she moved in there.
Seriously?
Yeah. And so did Hegseth and Rubio have also kicked out military people and moved into their homes for security in D.C. So, different generals and joint chiefs of staff or whatever housing, however I don't know how it's allocated, but they said that Hegseth and Rubio are living on a military base in D.C. and kicked people out of the houses, whoever the ranking people were. And so she commandeered the airplane and bought this. It was supposed to be for deportation, but bought this business Boeing jet, which has like 50 first-class seats, has a full bathroom and shower. And Melania has decided Trump has given it to Melania, for her to move around, I guess, between Mar-a-Lago and Manhattan. And this is right out of the old Soviet Union. I mean, this is dictator city. This is Warsaw Pact kind of stuff.
Graft.
Yeah.
And everybody screams about government waste and fraud in Medicare, fraud in.
Yeah.
Well, switching gears, because this just makes me sick to my stomach. You know, do you pay attention to your local car dealership ads? And do you have some personalities down there that do some funny
when they're
ads?
on, not really. We're in an odd zone because New Jersey, South Jersey is actually closer than anything.
Okay.
But you have to go over the ocean, 17 miles.
Ferry. Let's take the ferry.
So the closest really big car dealers are about 25 miles north or 25 miles to the southwest, I guess, in Maryland. So we don't get a lot of ads, but once in a while we'll get New Jersey ads that come across the ocean, which are interesting. But no, we don't have the characters like we used to have in Philly and
we have
places.
we have them in upstate New York, and I was almost going to suggest, or maybe I will suggest it to our listeners, if you come across a hilarious local car dealership ad and you can find it on YouTube or something, send us a link to letters@focusgroupradio.com. You might get a pair of Focus Group socks out of it, because we have a couple of, Bob and I still talk about, we used to have a guy up here named, there's Fusillo Ford. And back when we first started living up here, it was run by Billy Fusillo. And his catchphrase was, "It's huge." Like he would like huge deals. And he would show up at restaurants in Saratoga with a martini and a steak. And he'd be like, "You got to come down to this restaurant and deals are huge." And I'm thinking to myself, this guy is going to the race. He was hilarious. And actually, his son ran a Fusillo Volkswagen dealership. And one year I was turning in my car, and his dad had not appeared for a while. And I said, I miss your dad. "Oh, no, dad's doing okay, but he can't do as many of the ads." And they would do like 2, 3, 4 new ads every couple of weeks, because these local dealers keep it fresh. And then Tim sent me an Instagram post from was it in Phoenix or Scottsdale?
Scottsdale AutoNation an AutoNation Subaru dealer.
A woman is doing a good job of selling Subaru. I'll just say this, it doesn't take you more than 2 or 3 seconds to ascertain that she's probably a lesbian. And then Tim sent me this, and it's a good ad, but then the comment section was so hilarious, not negative, but people figured it out. Like, well, they're talking to the choir. They know who's selling the car.
Know their audience. Yeah.
They know their audience.
I thought it was AI or a joke at first, because there's a ton of stuff on TikTok and Instagram that are Subaru LGBTQ focused, which, as I've said a million times, even though you and I were very much part of that history, it was such a small piece of the business. But because of what it was and what it did and how people remember it, oh my God, they're still getting well, you and I should be on the dole. We should be getting a residual or a royalty every year. Every time I pull into a Home Depot or a Lowe's and I see 2 babes getting out, 2 bowlers getting out with their cars and loading it up with goods and whatever, I just smile and say, I did that. Right? I mean, I just think the local car thing, we have a couple others up here. There's a Kia dealership that has Kia's big on the local guys doing the thing.
They give their dealers money to do this, right?
Yeah. If I don't see you in a Kia or something, there's some craziness that he does.
Ours up here is Kooky for Kia, babies and dogs, babies and puppies not included. And it's this husband and wife team, and they appear as animated characters. And the animation is, to say, kind of crude but hilarious in its way. And this last one, the guy appears as a rabbit, like he's in a bunny suit, because it's Easter time. Because this was running in like late March or early April, and at the end, the hand, we're Kooky for Kia, babies and puppies not included, and I guess it works, right? Because here I'm repeating it.
You
like
remember
word for
word.
word.
There's I think it's for a drywall company or some sort of shower. Because there's some sort of construction company here that does these local ads. And the guys are all in drag, and really bad drag.
You are not kidding.
No, and I laugh at them every time because they're so bad and they're so poorly acted, and the drag is so bad. They're in like muumuus, and they've got a beard, but they've got the wigs on, and they look like housefraus or something. And they're like, oh, and they're trying to make a woman's voice and talk like they're women. But I remember them. Now, of course, I can't remember the name of the company, but I do remember the ads that they that's their shtick. So, no, local advertising is still kind of where it's at, right? I mean, sometimes
if you want a smile and a chuckle and earnest, they're earnest. Like they're willing to do anything, right? When you were describing the guys with the that do the drag, it reminded me of seeing the Hat Sisters in P-Town.
Oh yeah,
remember the Hat Sisters?
Yep.
They had the beards, and they would always have the elaborate matching hats and outfits. But so letters at focusgroupradio.com if you have a link to a fun local ad. Maybe we go beyond local dealership and we just say local ads because they really are just fun, right?
Yeah. No, they're entertaining. So, Mr. Nash, without further ado, what caught your eye this week?
What caught your eye? Here's what Tim and John found.
I'll start with a question, Tim. When we were at Sirius Satellite Radio and December came around, there were a couple things that would interfere with our weekends. One of them was the closing of the streets on the way to Rock Center for the tree, right?
Yeah.
But what would you say would be the other thing? It always was a certain Saturday, and you and I would get swept up in the craziness of this thing.
SantaCon. Was it Santa thing?
Yeah, very good. Okay, so what caught my eye is a headline here. SantaCon promoter arrested for charity fraud.
I love it. In New York City?
The president of SantaCon was arrested last Wednesday on a federal criminal indictment accusing him of using the ticketed Christmas bar crawl event to divert hundreds of thousands of dollars earmarked for charity to his personal use, New York federal prosecutors stated. The defendant, now the president of SantaCon, is a man named Stefan Pildes, Pildes, I hope I'm saying that right, claimed he did not receive any compensation from SantaCon, according to the indictment, and this is in the Southern District of New York. But the 50-year-old Pildes allegedly diverted funds from the event to a slush fund to pay for extensive renovations to a lakefront property in New Jersey, luxury vacations in Hawaii, Las Vegas, and Vail, Colorado, concert tickets, extravagant meals, and a luxury vehicle, prosecutors said. So the thing that kills me here, it says about $124,000 of the SantaCon funds were spent towards leasing a luxury apartment in Manhattan. Wow. And another $100,000 was in... Well, yeah, Tim, you may be right. He could have. And another $100,000 was invested in a boutique resort in Costa Rica, founded by a friend of Pildes, the indictment said. They said he donated a very small fraction of the approximately $2.7 million raised by SantaCon for nonprofits. And I guess he's used another company called Participatory Safety as a charity to push this stuff through. So SantaCon, just to recap, these people come into Manhattan, you buy tickets for this, and it's a bar crawl, and they're all dressed like Santa. They have the hats on, the beards. Many of them are smoking cigarettes, drinking beer. I mean, it's sort of a messy, funny day.
There's a huge one here that they do.
I wonder if it's affiliated at all. Huh?
Well, I was going to ask you because does it mention where the charities were? Because the one here, it goes to Toys for Tots.
Oh no! So here he simply said that all your money will be split between the various charities listed on this page, and the SantaCon page would show a couple of different charities.
Right.
They claim here though that that only a very small amount. He did donate some money, but it was a very small amount.
But that's like a lot of nonprofits, right? I mean, a lot of nonprofits have to pay for their overhead and everything, and very little goes to actual. So I wonder what really did him in. Must have been some sort of tax thing, because how do you make your money on that? So if you say, do you make a deal with bars? Because how would you collect that money? Do you have to pay to be part of SantaCon, or can you just throw in an outfit and go place to place?
No, you did have to have a ticket, and you would go to a website and you would register for SantaCon on that Saturday.
And then pay your fee, I guess.
Yeah, and the bars would honor those tickets. Or let you in or something like that, because you're still buying drinks at the bars. It's not like you're getting stuff for free, but you pay the money to just be part of this big bar crawl going from A to B to C to D. And at the end of the day, you're like, yeah, I gave money to the kids. He has here, like, for example, the report said that the largest donation by Participatory Safety, which was this company he has set up to donate the money, went to a for-profit outfit. $66,000 to Spectaculum Productions, maker of the documentary film At Your Cervix, an expose about pelvic exams performed by medical students on unconscious and non-consenting patients. Has nothing to do with Christmas. Anyway, there's a little bit more here, but I think the gist of this is that he also invested in cryptocurrencies, lost $18,000 that way. More than $832,000 the money raised from SantaCon, or 59%, went to the nonprofit's expenses. Tim, your office expenses, right? Not including its charitable grants. So he raised all this money, but gave very little. I don't know. It just, SantaCon
is he going to go to jail?
Court appearance is this week in New York, in Manhattan, at one of the district courts. And we'll see. I'll keep track of it from there. But I puzzle about these things because when you own a nonprofit, it's transparent. You file a tax return that anybody could look at online, right? But you have to believe that the IRS has some kind of way of figuring out outflows versus did you keep the money and do, you know what I mean? Like there must be a calculus where they say, hey, wait a minute. He only gave $100,000 over the last 2 years, and they're reporting income of $2.14 million. What's going on, right?
Yeah. No, that's why I was wondering what did him in. Something had to do him in, or somebody turned him in. But it reminds me of Lucy. Remember when Lucy was doing the raffle? She was going to get in trouble with the TV set. Her logic was very, very plausible. Is that someone's going to buy a ticket, and someone's going to win a TV, and the IRS was like, "Oh no, you sold them these tickets under false pretense. I thought they were doing something for good." Yeah, it is good. Someone's going to win a TV. Or they're trying to raise money for Sheen Ethel to go to Europe.
Yeah, I remember that.
But, yeah.
Again, a show that would touch on everything that's still topical in many ways, right?
I always thought it was a good idea. Still do. So my story is very different. It's about Pez candy.
Love Pez. Oh, love
and,
Pez.
And I don't know if you knew this. I don't know if we've talked about this over the years, because you and I have talked about Pez before. But the headline was Pez candy was created to help people quit smoking. Did you know that?
No, when you sent this through with the picture, by the way, if you're watching on YouTube, Tim sent two pictures. One is a circular photo of all these different color Pez, like the pink, yellow, the whole bit.
Oh, the fruity
And then
Pez.
next to it is a black and white photo of a bunch of women playing cards and smoking cigars and cigarettes. I have no idea where you found it, but it's hysterical.
So they said that, so this was, and I don't even know, this was in some blog along the way, but it said decades before doctors began to publicize the harmful effects of cigarettes, a 30-year-old Austrian executive decided to invent an alternative. So in 1927, Eduard Haas III, he was managing the company's baking goods company in Austria. And he decided to come up with a peppermint-flavored treat known as Pez Drops. And how he got the name was the German word for peppermint is Pfefferminz, Pfefferminz. So he took the P from the beginning, the E from the middle, and the Z from the end. And that's how Pez came about. That's where the name came from. So he made these Pez Drops, and he started marketing them as an alternative for smoking. He said they were marketed to adults with slogans like smoking prohibited, Pezzing allowed. They were packaged in a foil paper or a metal tin, but they ended up hiring an engineer named Oscar Uxa, I think is UXA, and he came up with a convenient way to extract the tablets single-handedly. The innovation was a plastic dispenser with a cap that tilted back and would spring and push the candy forward. And they debuted that in 1949 at a trade fair. So they said that he got a patent in the U.S. in 1952. And but notice these mint candies, the Americans had no interest in giving up smoking. So very little interest in these candies. Did not do anything. They didn't go anywhere. So he decided he was going to replace the Pez mints with fruity flavors, which is what we have today. And he said, I'm going to target children instead. And instead of doing this dispenser thing he experimented with a number of pricey dispensers that looked like robots. But in 1957, then they came up with a Santa Claus, a space gun, a Halloween dispenser, different three-dimensional types of heads on top of this rectangular case. And they said the Popeye version was the first one licensed in 1958. Since then, they've had 1,500 different dispensers. Do you want to guess what the best-selling one still is of all time? The best-selling Pez?
Is it guessable?
Yeah.
Best-selling. I want to say either Superman or a superhero, perhaps.
Well, it's funny because it's related to your story, and we didn't even plan this. Santa Claus.
God, Santa Claus is the best-selling Pez dispenser?
Yeah, they said Santa Claus is still the best-selling Pez dispenser of all time. Americans eat about 3 billion Pez a year, and so it's the company. So the Haas company in Austria still owns Pez. They also own a bunch of other companies too, pretty well-named brands, and they said that there's only a handful of flavors available in the U.S. Other flavors sold around the world we don't seem to get here. It's kind of like your Kit Kat thing. And they said there's other flavors that are discontinued, including licorice, coffee, and chlorophyll. Why would chlorophyll be a flavor?
Is that like for a sore throat? Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Ugh.
A Prince Harry and Meghan Markle Pez dispenser just earned close to $10,000 at a charity auction a few years ago. There was going to be, based upon the Lego movie, there was going to be a Pez movie. They've actually optioned it in 2015. They're still looking for a director. We know that story. So they're going down the road on a movie, but it's on its way. Yeah, it's on its way. Hurry up and wait. So there may be a Pez movie. Who knows? So that was
Tim. Did I send you one year a Captain Crunch Pez dispenser?
You might have. I had a few of them, and I don't know. I'm looking on my shelf to see if they're here. There's somewhere.
A couple. I think I want to say it was a couple 5-6 years ago. They came out with like a Captain Crunch, and I'm pretty sure I bought one and sent it to you. I still have mine in a plastic box with the candy, the whole bit, because I loved Captain Crunch as a kid. I mean, that was the kind of cereal you would eat, then you would drink the milk as if it were like candy water, right? But I just as kids we loved Pez. When we played doctor, the dispenser was the medicine. The head would go back, the little candy would come out.
Right, and you had to have them, what was the word I'm looking for?
We had to have the refill pack that went in.
Yeah,
you had to have the dispenser. Yeah. And there's an art form to pulling that thing out because it's spring loaded. You pull it up, you dump the candy in, you let it go, and then you're ready to roll.
Once in a while, I used to snap at my tongue. Hit my tongue. Did you ever have that?
Yes. Yeah.
It would go after your tongue. So, and then of course there were all the Star Wars Pez dispensers. I wonder if they're worth anything. I didn't see anything about them.
There was a year that came out with Greedo. If anybody remembers in Star Wars, the original Star Wars, Han Solo's in Mos Eisley. He's in the canteen, and some guy with a green face named Greedo comes to collect him to take him to Jabba the Hutt, and he shoots him. But they had that, and I remember giving that to my friend Adrian one year for Christmas when they came out with that one. But yeah, popular, very popular.
Wow. Yeah, and I was surprised about this Haas company because I guess I never paid attention to who they were.
No.
And they're as I said, they're out of Austria, and they've got I'm trying to pull it up, and of course it's not coming up for me. Oh no, here it is. I was trying to see what else they own. So Chupa Chups is they own those. They own the Fisherman's Friend cough drops. They own Mentos.
Oh yeah. Have you ever had Fisherman's Friend? Woo, they're
rough. They have Mentos, a bunch of other European things, Ricola. So Pez seems to be doing okay.
Wow.
It's sugar. I don't know. I think
a little brick of sugar. Yeah.
A little brick of sugar. You can make candies, John. We should have done candies. What do you think?
I would say yes, because everybody we know who's done it. I mean, well, there have been some inventive stuff too, right? Like, imagine inventing the pixie stick. How hard was that? You dump sugar into a straw, crimp the end, and call it a day.
You know, the pixie stick's the one. I mean, that was just like Jell-O, right? Just didn't even add water. It's like the cookie dough at the time.
I remember my parents looking into the back seat in horror as we were all dumping the entire stick into our mouth. Like, okay.
Well, then it became Fun Dip. Then you took that sugar stick and licked the stick and stuck it in and got it. Yeah. When I was in school, I wasn't in this. I was at Rochambeau and you were at Memorial. But remember that when you were a little kid, the desks, and it had a little drain, little trough where your pencil and pens would go in. Well, the kids, when we didn't have Pez, they filled it up with Jell-O. And all the desks and the kids would be...
You mean the powdered before? Oh,
yeah, the powdered Jell-O.
God.
Stick your finger in and taste it. And the desks, I remember the teacher, Mr. Turchuk, went ballistic because it was
I remember Turchuk.
all over the place. Kids would have the orange or the lemon all on
stained
their
lips.
Right, well, stained lips and teeth and fingers from the Jell-O. So but the letter went home to the parents and not to allow the kids to bring Jell-O in. It was all over the floor. A sticky mess. But that was
simpler times. That when we were growing up, Tim, we didn't have active shooter drills. We had to worry about Jell-O powder on the desk, right?
Yes, and I still remember this one thing. I remember we had taken a field trip to go see a pair of penny loafers, only in Connecticut. We had
where were they at?
Mr. Moodry had them on. And they packed us all up, and this was 5th grade, and Mr. Moodry was in 8th grade, which was the bigger area of the school. And I don't remember, we were doing something about pilgrims' outfits or shoes or something, and he's like, it's the modern day penny loafer. And a lot of kids were trying to figure that. He goes, where's penny loafers? Mr. Moodry, let's go pay him a visit. And literally brings 30 kids, 5th graders, into this guy's history class to go look at his penny loafers. Nowadays, I don't know if you could still do those sort of things.
Oh, come on. You could have seen those in the teacher's lounge that day. Must have been hilarious. We photo. It's sort of like photobombing someone. We photobombed Moodry, got him on the penny loafers. I remember he never not wore them. He wore them all the time.
Right, and they'd always scuff around because his floor would be shiny, and and he had pennies in them. So anyway, the old days of Connecticut. The past is still present.
Very much.
Yes. So our business birthday this week, Mr. Nash.
Everyone does celebrity birthday greetings, but the Focus Group is the only show in the universe that celebrates business birthdays.
He was born a few days ago, but I thought it was a good one to cover, so I used him. It's Burt Meyer. This is his name, actual Burton Carpenter Meyer, born April 18th, 1926. He died last year at 99. In Illinois,
good long
American
life.
Yes, good long life. He invented or co-invented a number of successful toys we probably all had: Rock'em Sock'em Robots, Lite-Brite, Toss Across, and Mousetrap. And he graduated from the Institute of Design at Illinois Institute of Technology with a bachelor's degree in 1952. He was hired to be design director at the Atlanta Art Institute, and he started designing trade show displays, cabinets, and jukeboxes. But he really wanted to do something more creative. So in 1960, he was hired by a company called Marvin Glass and Associates, where he worked on Rock'em Sock'em Robots, Lite-Brite, and the various toys we mentioned. And he said that Rock'em Sock'em Robots in the early 60s, he went with, in Chicago with his boss, Marvin Glass, and they went to an arcade. And they put a coin in this game machine, and there were 2 human-like boxing figures. And they'd play this game, and then the boxing would hit a boxer, and the boxer would fall over. And as they were playing this, they thought, this would be a good game for kids. We should try to figure out how to make this into a toy. So they started playing around with it, and they couldn't figure out how to get the boxers to actually hit the other toy boxer to fall over and make it look realistic. And they shelved the idea, though. After working on it for 3 years, they shelved the idea because there was an actual injury. There was a boxer named Davey Moore who died of a brain injury from fighting against Sugar Ray Ramos in 1963. But they decided again to bring it back a year later, and decided instead of using human figures, they were going to use robots. And instead instead of having the bodies fall over, there was just something in their head that had to happen. So they decided to pop off the head. And that's how we got the thing where the chin here, boom. And so the final version, as we know, is still used today and still sold today. The other product, which was his favorite one, was based on a trip he took to Manhattan and saw a bunch of stores at night lit up the neon, and came up with the idea of Lite-Brite, which lets children put the little pegs in the lighted box underneath and make designs and shapes.
Do you remember the jingle for Lite-Brite?
I don't.
Lite-Brite, making things with light. Out of sight, making things with Lite-Brite.
Bum, 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 bum.
Oh, we weren't influenced by advertising at all.
No, so they said he when he came up with the idea, he came up with this idea in Manhattan with the lights and whatever. And so in order to sell the idea, he and Marvin Glass and this other guy, Harry Stan, they went to show the prototype to Hasbro and a guy named Merrill Hasenfeld. And they were trying to figure out how they were going to sell this to him and do a licensing deal. So they shut all the lights off in the room. They plugged it in. They gave it to the guy. They started playing with it. And immediately the executive from Hasbro, Hasenfeld, said, "That's my game. That's it. That's my item." And to this day, they've sold over 20 million Lite-Brites.
20 million Lite-Brite?
Yeah, it was ranked as the 55th best or 55th best toy of all time, or all-time greatest toy by Timeless Toys. Also, Rock'em Sock'em Robots came in at 49. But he really liked Lite-Brite, was his favorite one. His license plate read Toy King. And he was always creative. They said he had a mischievous side to him, very much an adventurer, did lots of, cycled from San Francisco to Charleston, flew a single engine plane, was always doing what they said was some sort of, exciting adventure sort of things, hiking up to the North Pole, so forth. He left the toy company, Marvin Glass, in the 1980s and went out on his own and had success with something called Pretty Pretty Princess board game. I did not know that.
No.
And then something called Gooey Louie, which sounds gross. It was there was this big head, plastic head, and you would pick things out of Louie's nose, Gooey Louie. So it's like picking boogers, I guess, out of his nose. If you chose the wrong item to pull out, his head flew off. His brain opened up and the brain flew out. But
it's a different version of Operation.
Yeah. So that was Gooey Louie. So as I said, he died at 99 and he had a good long life. And he invented, they said he was the one who filled your toy box full of fun for a quarter of a century.
You knocked my block
you
off.
often wonder, right? You often wonder, but can you imagine? My father invented Rock'em Sock'em Robots and Lite-Brite and Toss Across. We had a Toss Across.
Mm-hmm, we did too.
And,
did you have
Mousetrap? I don't think I did. I had Spirograph.
I love Spirograph.
Yeah.
We had a neighbor who had Lite-Brite. We didn't have Lite-Brite. Did you have Mousetrap?
I think my cousins did, and it was just, I remember never being able to.
It was like a Rube Goldberg thing.
Yeah, it was hard to build it, I thought. Yeah. I don't know. Did you
and
have
then to have it actually do its thing, you would roll like a steely, like a metal bearing down, and it would trip the thing, and then the Mousetrap. Hey.
Too complicated.
I remember my first Rock'em Sock'em Robots. The head, that's the head, the noise
that's
of
the noise, yep. Well, my mother just cleaned out the attic this past summer, or the past winter. I found them, and I played with them for a little while with my brother, but we lost some pieces were lost. There was I guess in the ring, there was supposed to be a little fence or a little,
yep.
We lost parts of it. And I looked at my brother and I said, "Do you want to keep this?" And no. Matt got mad. We threw it in the dump. It got thrown away.
Would Matt have been able to sell it for parts or something, or?
Well, he did take, after he told me not to throw any of that stuff away, I did give him some things, my shooting gallery, my Ford Apache, a few of those things. And
Which you said was like mint condition, close to all the pieces.
Yeah, I had one piece that was missing, and Matt found it online, and he's putting it together, and then he's going to try to sell it at a yard sale this coming May. I said, whatever you can get for them. Otherwise, the toys had, I don't know if this... Well, and it's also happened to you, as you said. When you were little, the complexity of them was magical. And then when you actually looked at them, they were pretty basic. It's like the whirlybird thing. I thought, this is all this is a stupid little plastic box and the thing's on a tether and it goes around in a circle. And there wasn't much to it. And Fort Apache was just a metal briefcase you opened up with plastic.
And then you had the soldiers. And that was Matchbox City. It was a briefcase you'd open up, the buildings would pop up, and hours of fun.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a great business birthday, and I'm firmly down memory lane in a good way. Like, boy, are we lucky to have these toys in our upbringing. All right, we're going to take a really quick pause here. When we come back, Tim has a shop talk for us about Bill Gates, about Warren Buffett, and what happens when a friend of yours does something that you don't like, and it has to do with Jeffrey Epstein. So we'll leave it there. We'll be right back after this quick break.
You're listening to The Focus Group with Tim and John. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com. Now back to The Focus Group with Tim and John. Available pretty much everywhere.
Hey, welcome back to The Focus Group. Tim Bennett here with my good friend and co-host John T. Nash. And now we're going to do our segment, one of our signature segments called Shop Talk. And this is just really it's funny, you and I haven't talked a lot about the Epstein files, which kind of come in and out of the news depending upon what the administration does. And but this headline I saw, it was in a number of places. This one I think I might have taken from People. But the headline is Bill Gates's friend, Warren Buffett, stopped talking. I don't like the headline. I'll say it myself. Warren Buffett stopped talking to Bill Gates after he found out he was in the Epstein files. Yeah. And he said, I don't want to know things. And so this was an interview done at the very end of March. He said Warren Buffett said he hadn't talked to Bill Gates since the Microsoft co-founder appeared in the recently released Epstein files. Buffett said, I don't want to be in a position where I know things. I didn't realize he's 95, Warren Buffett. Initially, Bill Gates said he didn't do anything wrong and there was really nothing in the files. But then they find out maybe there's actually more to the story. Maybe Gates did have an affair, did have some more of a relationship with Epstein than anybody let on to. And what did you think about Warren's? I don't know if it's a rule. What would you say it is? He just decided he's gonna. He and Gates were very close. He would give money every year to his foundation. They had lunch together often. They were very much would do appearances together. If you Google either of them, there's millions of pictures of them together.
Well, and they were both involved in that Give Back pledge, right?
Right.
When these really wealthy people were supposed to donate most of their money before they died to institutions or charities. I wonder if Warren Buffett would call his, I don't know if he has a name for this rule, but would he call it where there's smoke, there's fire? Like
right.
any hint of scandal or salacious, actually it was not just scandal, it was salacious scandal. I think he just did a big step back. Now, Buffett himself never met Jeffrey Epstein in his life, knew of him, but never met him. And Bill Gates has claimed that his relationship with Epstein was purely financial, solely for the purpose of obtaining support for his global health philanthropy. And Gates says it's a serious error in judgment to meet with Epstein. You know, this whole Epstein thing, though, and Tim's broader point is, so you have Warren Buffett, who I think everybody looks at and says, boy, like one of the top money investing smart people in the world, and certainly a man of integrity, right? He lives in the same house he's lived in forever. I think he still eats the same way, drives an old car. Like he's just one of those, like the millionaire next door, frugal, thoughtful. So when he turns his back on someone who's vaguely attached to scandal, it says a lot. And when Tim pitched this concept or the story to me, he's like, we've been in business for a long time and we've observed what happens in corporations when people step into the wrong side of the like when they do something wrong or bad. Corporate America tends to sweep this stuff up really quickly, unless it's my imagination.
No, you're right, really fast. And that hasn't happened here in politics.
Not in the U.S.
No, you're right, not in the U.S. Because if you look at other people that have had associations, there's been some people in Hollywood, there's been some other business people that have immediately resigned from their roles or resigned from positions. The interesting thing here with Gates is Gates had denied any wrongdoing, of course, with Epstein. And then they find out there was a cache of files that included draft emails to Epstein, which alleged that Gates had contracted a sexually transmitted infection from Russian girls that were affiliated with Epstein. And he, in fact, did cheat on his wife. And, so you go down the rabbit hole. The thing I find most fascinating about this whole Epstein thing, so there's the business aspect of it, but, somebody really needs to study the power of Epstein, because I believe that there was a leader, who we all know, who had used Epstein as his useful idiot to bring down Western democracies and Western businesses. And because there seems to be when you look at our president on his knees for Putin, there's obviously something that Putin has on Trump. It's obvious. And when you think about and you look at all of these ties Epstein has had with Western governments and senior leaders and people in business, he seems to have, how he did it, I don't know. Right. But there's something with the power and the money. And Buffett touches on that, too, that there's people who don't want to pay tax. There's just people who like to have sex. He kind of makes this statement, but then he says how Epstein was such a con man. I don't know how he got away with it all.
Yep.
And so that's the scary thing for me about this, is that there's obvious, you don't have your name, like our president mentioned, as Hillary Clinton said in her deposition. You don't show up thousands of times in something
Correct.
like this and not have any sort of complicity in it. So
I think the quote that you were just saying about Buffett, I'll read it because you could almost hear it in his voice. Men are going to like sex, and some of them are going to like not paying taxes. And whatever it was, he figured out what their weakness was, and then he would prey on them. But that doesn't excuse the people on the other end. So Buffett kind of figured it out, Tim, right? I mean, and how could you fall into the lair?
Yeah. I don't get, that's why I said the power that Epstein, somebody needs to, I mean, I'm sure someone is, but the power he had, when we look at it, it's infiltrated into the UK. There's involvement with a number of other European countries. And not just governments, but captains of industry and business. And when you look at the behavior of our president and his behavior, that just makes no sense as any American leader. And he idolizes Putin. So there's something, to me, and I've always said, I've always thought the first lady was an asset too, but that's just me. No, listen, the Russians have been after Trump since the 80s. He loved Eastern European women. Do you think Melania loves Donald?
Some New Yorkers claim that if you knew her, you'd get it. They said that she's the female version of him, just as ruthless.
What?
Yeah,
really?
Yeah. Do you think, Tim, that this whole, in the broader conversation of like how these people get involved in this power, who gets caught, who gets ejected, is it mad, mutually assured destruction? Were they all playing this game like, if we all keep our mouths shut, everything's going to be fine, but if the wall cracks, we're all going down? Because, as the files came out and names came up, with the exception of Howard Lutnick, who apparently had a memory wipe, he was at the island. But here in the U.S., it wasn't. Politicians haven't suffered as much as they did in England, or corporate executives or charity. So yeah, it's a weird thing.
Well, I don't think enough of it's all come out yet.
Really?
There's still 3 million pages missing. Or there's still 3 million pages that need to be released. The other thing I find odd is how come the women haven't come forward and talked? Now, they've said that some of them were afraid, some of them have, maybe some of them had signed, who knows whether they were paid off So I don't know. But the whole thing to me is just, I don't believe we've gotten to the bottom of it. And
well, Marjorie Taylor Greene, I'll just say that and let it hang there for a second. She was recently interviewed on one of the networks, and they asked her about her falling out with Donald Trump, because they were like thick as thieves.
Right.
And she claims that he called him on the eve of Massey's resolution. He was looking for signatures to force the vote to release the files. And apparently Trump said to her, do not do this. Do not sign that letter. A lot of my friends are going to suffer because of it. So I'm sorry, but if that's reported, and okay, you may not believe the source. You may think that was one way, now she's another. It does. And then when the redactions came out, and then they would fix this, do that. It feels like an elaborate cover up. And what are they covering up? It's what you were talking about. Like the tentacles of this thing probably go far deeper than we suspect. And I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, because we're not. But this is so obvious, right? Like some of the stuff you read, it's like, wait a minute, this is going on and you didn't know about it?
No, it's exactly what you said. Some men like sex and some don't want to pay taxes, and Epstein figured out who was who.
And
right.
And
held it over them. And that's the power of a dictator or somebody who wants to rule the world. Yep. And because they all got something on you. So somebody's got something on our president. Otherwise, he would not be behaving the way he does with Putin. Of course, I'll end up dead off a bridge tomorrow. But
or you'll have some kind of like radioactive pellet dropped into your food. It also has it has that feeling of the Jim Jordan thing too. The Ohio State thing, where all these people supposedly knew what was, but he didn't know what was going on. He's sitting like 5 feet away. I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, it's gambling in River City.
Yeah, there's gambling in River City. So I want to sum up, just to put a cap on this, in the corporations that Tim and I have either worked for or done work for, we have seen scandals pop up, usually of a sexual nature. Someone's fooling around with the secretary, whatever, and it is cleaned up faster than you can write the name of the state of Mississippi. By the time you get to the SIS, he's got the door and there's someone new. I mean, we were working for one car manufacturer. One day we were down there, we were talking to the head of the company. I think it was like 12 hours later, we called our contact. Oh no, he's gone. And we were told in private what the scandal was. But so if companies do this quickly, I don't know why our government can't, but yeah.
No, it's crazy. Crazy.
All right. So there you go, folks. Our opinion is if there's smoke, there's fire. If there's a scandal, run the other way. And if you're involved in the scandal, I don't know. We're going to call it quits there, though. We want to thank you for joining us here on the Focus Group this week. FocusGroupRadio.com is our website, and we know you have many podcasts to choose from, and we want to thank you for listening to ours. Lastly, we say this every week. It's a great one. Please don't text and drive. Arrive alive, because we want to see you here next week for the next version of the Focus Group.
It's the Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash. Accessible on all platforms. Subscribe, like, and rate us on your platform of choice. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com.